Next, let's take a look at how we can delete records from our internal table. And it's really simple. We just use the delete statement. And we can use the delete statement to remove individual records or groups of records from our table at any one time. The fastest way of achieving this is by using the table index, just like we did with the read statement. But note, this only applies to standard tables and sorted tables, not hash tables. Only these two types of tables have an index. So let's have a look at the code. So we start off with the word delete, we specify our internal table, and then we just give it an index. It's pretty simple. We make no use of the header line here. Instead, we just directly address the record index of the record we want to delete in the body of the internal table. Now with the delete statement, we can also use it inside a loop with exactly the same type of syntax. So for example, let's copy this loop and we'll paste it down here. What we can do is, if we have some logic to identify a specific record, in this case if our surname equals Smith, we can then say delete a record from itab 01. We're going to use the index, but instead of specifying the number, we can use a system variable called syindex. And when we are inside the loop, this variable gets updated automatically by the system. So if we are in the 5th iteration of a loop, this variable will contain the number 5, which will equal the 5th record in the table that we want to delete. One thing to note is that you shouldn't use the delete statement without the index addition. If you are outside the loop, you will be given a runtime error, which in turn will cause your program to crash. If you are inside the loop, you need to make sure the index addition is included to be compliant with future releases of the ABAP syntax. I want to introduce the where addition to the delete statement, because there are times when you don't know the actual index of the record that you want to delete. When your table has a non-unique key, you need to use some other logic, as we've already discussed, to determine which record or records you want to delete. And this is where you can use the where addition. Now you use the where clause to construct a logical expression that contains the various conditions that will help you identify the record or records you need to delete as uniquely as you can. Now always try and be as specific as possible when trying to identify records you want to delete, because the last thing you want is to delete data that you shouldn't have deleted. So let's have a look at the code. It's real simple, and what we're going to do is copy this statement here and we'll bring it down and we'll edit it. So we have delete, then we have the table, but instead of using the index, we're going to say where, and let's use surname again, where surname equals Smith. You can see it's very straightforward. And we have just included one logical expression that attempts to identify any records with the surname Smith that we want to delete. When a record is found that does match our logical expression, the record will be removed from the internal table. If the system finds multiple records, all the records will be deleted that match the expression.